so I see the messages. Okay, there we go. So hi, I hope everybody's well. I had a rough day yesterday, I had a rough night, and life is hard sometimes like that. Things happen. Uh, I'm gonna give you guys a quick testimony, only because I like to document certain things. At this current time, I am withholding rent, and I've only been giving a couple of $100 for like the last year or so. Because for 25 years I was under the impression I had to work my life away so that we would have certain things to keep me away from my children. Um, and it's not that I don't pay my debts, because I am paying my debts, my credit cards, and all that. I don't feel like I should have to pay to be abused. Now, if this is persecution coming from my own family, whatever you want to classify it as, the Most High God will either allow it to happen or not to happen. It won't matter what I say about it. But it's the principle of the matter. I don't want to give to this wicked system anymore. I think it's nice that the government still helps us with, so far, pensions and retirement and SSI and SSA. But we have half the nation that wants to do away with those things when those are charitable acts. I feel like when that happens, judgment will just start coming that much quicker when we're not taking care of the most vulnerable in our society. And so it's a principle thing for me. I do more than my share around this place and endure certain things that nobody should have to go through, I don't think. But, these things teach us, and hopefully they make us better people. But I wanted to get that on record because that's where I'm at. This individual has been more aggressive again recently. And if you've ever been in an abusive relationship, you know the cycles. You have a honeymoon period where everything is great, and then you have a tension building period. I have them memorized. You have a tension building period where little things start to get on that person's nerves or whatever, and then you have the blow up phase. Um, and that's what I've lived with for 25, 30 years. And I'm not saying that, I'm wise for staying here, staying in it, but people say, well, leave. Well, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? Where am I going to go? Am I going to sleep on the streets? I don't know. Maybe soon I will. Um, but yeah, I'm not going to pay to be abused. And I've been asking for 3 years now to get back on a lease. He refuses to sign a lease. And he has friends in the system, family in the system, and he has somebody who's very close to him who is a cop, who likes to watch me and monitor what I do. This misappropriation of funds is really disgusting, though, I'll say that. And I pray for these people. I forgive them. But it's tiring. I'm tired. I don't feel well because I was jabbed against my consent and knowledge. And I think it's starting to take its toll. And people don't want to hear it. This is the truth of what's happening in our nation. Persecution doesn't look the way people thought that it would. They don't always come at you with battle axes. When God asked me to do this, the big thing that He put on my heart was repentance, and I'd never heard that word much. Or I didn't remember it as a kid. I knew we had to go to confession and make some kind of amends for what we had done wrong. But like most kids, I didn't take it seriously. I took God's grace for granted, and I took advantage of that. And then I fell into that as an adult because I had done things that had totally blinded me. And this is what happens, folks. I want to say something here. The church is under judgment and it's faltering now because it allowed the world to change us. We're not supposed to be participating. I think, it's one or the other. I don't think we're supposed to be participating in the system in certain ways that we do. And it's coming back to haunt us at this point. If we really are Christ followers, if we really do want heaven, if we really do pray for the people that we love because we want them saved, if we really want to grow in grace and virtue, um, we need to properly diagnose our problem. And that's one of our problems, is taking grace for granted and allowing ourselves to be enmeshed in certain things that shouldn't, and they shouldn't even be a topic of discussion. We shouldn't be arguing with them or divided over them, because we shouldn't be participating in that part of things, because it is wicked or because it is anti-God, because it's inverted. So we really shouldn't be having certain discussions at all. By just entertaining these discussions, like what is a woman, and I did it too, but by participating, we're consenting to confusion. And I talk to you about consent every day. Now, I'm not going to call myself a prophet. I am whatever God tells me I am. All I know is that we have to repent as a nation. It has to happen as a people. I am doing my best at this moment for my own family and whoever, it'll be counted towards. I've asked God for certain graces for the people that persecute me. I know that sounds stupid to a lot of people, but I have. Because again, I'm not doing well. But I wanted to get it documented, this misappropriation of funds being tracked by the police so that your crazy spouse always knows where you're at. Like, this is happening all over. You see the videos about it on YouTube. That's all he watches when he comes home, is women getting arrested. And they're loud women, they're belligerent women, but they're having hands put on them. They're being mistreated. Even if you're going to take a woman to jail, there's a what did they used to call it? My uncle wrote a book about the Civil War. There were rules of engagement, and there are certain things that you just, so that you didn't become a heathen, basically, so that it's an oxymoron, but so that war was a gentleman's game, there were certain things you didn't do. And raping and pillaging and all that, that's for Vikings. That's for beings that are not fully, of mankind. They're not all human. We are not supposed to be participating in these things, and yet we do it. But if we do, there are certain rules we're supposed to follow. And that doesn't include dragging women off in cuffs, throwing them in jail, taking them away from their families. Like, we're supposed to have advocates. We're supposed to have advocacy, children, especially the elderly. Um, this is our judgment. We are being severely judged because we've allowed the most vulnerable of our society to become the most hated. And again, all you have to do is go in the comment sections to see the lack of empathy and compassion. And I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time. I'm not gonna lie about that. And I get made fun of for that. Oh, you're a big baby, boo-hoo. I can't believe I'm married. I can't believe I'm with somebody that behaves like a really wicked 5-year-old. I don't understand what's happened. Boo-hoo. If you make a girl cry, the least you could do at that point is just leave her alone. Just leave me alone. I've spent the last 8 or 9 years crying every night. My family could give a fig. They want, crying because they want nothing to do with me. They won't spend time with me. Not because I need to be the center of the world, but I wanted to be a part of their world. I wanted to be a part of their life. And I'm not telling you these personal things for pity per se or so you feel sorry for me. I'm telling you so that maybe you'll be better to the women in your life. Maybe you'll be better to the ill in your life, to the elderly, to whoever's the most vulnerable. Maybe it'll change somebody's behavior because these things that are going on, they're not okay. Grown men acting like children with their wives and getting into like these disputes. Like back in the day, if the police were called and a woman was taken away for domestic violence, men would have laughed at that man. Like they would have said, dude, what are you doing? You're like twice her size. You can go in another room. You can get in the car and drive away. Why are you sending your partner off, you're the mother of your children, off to jail? It's disgusting. And I'm not saying that women shouldn't be in jail if they commit a crime. I'm not saying that either. This is not that conversation. This is the conversation about there's a reason there are certain rules in the Old Testament. It's not because God was lenient about them. It was because it was known that mankind was going to do these things anyway. So there was supposed to be rules of engagement. If you're going to get into a war, women and children first meant you get them to safety first, not you pummel them first. These videos of these women getting arrested and people on the worst day of their lives, they shouldn't even exist. Shame on whoever watches them. They shouldn't exist. Yeah, we should hold these cops accountable, but for them to be on YouTube monetizing what is potentially the worst day of somebody's life with their image and their voice, that is not okay. I don't care who you are. I don't care how many boys you have, what boys club you're in, who you go and sit and have drinks with. Proper men, real patriots, don't do the things that we're seeing across our nation en masse in these times. Good people, strong men, do not do these things. That content shouldn't exist. It should not be happening. People should not be able to monetize somebody else's face or CCTV. Those things shouldn't be monetizable. What if it was you? What if, God forbid, you a traffic stop or you got hit, and it just happened to be on video? Do you want people gushing over like watching that 3 and 4 and 5 million people, and then some random person who decided to fill out an FOIA form for it, making money off of it, making bank? Dude, we've got a problem. This is disgusting, despicable behavior. The behavior that I deal with in my own house is disgusting and despicable. And yeah, I might be a loud woman sometimes. There is no other way with this behavior. I am not, how do I put this? I'm more of a Judith in the Bible. Okay? I'm not Mary. I wish I was Mary. I wish I could be that way. But I'm not going to allow even my adult child to watch me just sit there and take this behavior. And again, I'm bringing my situation up, one, for documentation purposes, because obviously they're up to fun and games again. Things have been ramping up. You guys can tell, I know you can. It's happening all over again. There used to be rules for engagement of war. And it used to only involve people in the military, not citizens. It's disgusting. So I'm here to tell you again, I love you, but you need to repent. There is no other way. You don't understand what you're doing. to yourself and to your community. You have no clue what you're actually doing. You know not what you do. You've got to turn around and try something new, because we don't need a whole nation of grown, pretty big men running around like they're wicked 5-year-olds with duper's delight in laughing and giggling because they made some woman cry, or worse, raped some woman, threw her off of what happened in Brazil, threw her off a bridge without a bungee cord. These things that are happening, if you are silent, again, just like the message God gave me, if you are silent, there will be a cost to you as well. And I'm not going to have blood on my hands, so I need to tell people these things. Same as when somebody is abusive to me, if I have to get loud to get them to stop and like take stock of what they're doing, that's what I'm going to do. I don't do it just on video. I do it in person too. You need to repent. It doesn't have to be this way. If you live a life properly following moral and natural laws, with God at the center, instead of yourself at the center, and people think, oh, well, that I don't want to worship, oh, blah, blah, blah. Worship is simply where you spend the most time on your mind. Everybody worships something. Everybody has a God, whether they believe they do or not. For some people, it's video games. For other people, it's TV. For other people, it's movies. For some people, it's lust, and that's their God. But you guys aren't impressing anyone, and you're causing serious harm to your own souls and the souls of other people. But you don't have to take it from me. You don't have to listen to me. Let's start with this. I wanted to, if I could, hang on, let me pull one more thing up. Come on now. I found something else this morning that gives a little more context. Because I like to, sometimes if I have 2 or 3 links up, I'll toggle them for you guys. What are you doing here? Fun and games. And they're big fun and games. When all this started in my home computer, and I know this because I worked in cell phones, I was a SME, I was a subject matter expert. Are you not going to want to open? Anyways, I was a subject matter expert, and when all this started in my home computer, I found the license for my Samsung phone. Do you know how expensive that would be to buy the actual license so that you own not just the item itself, but like you have a clone of all the apps, all that, like you know the phone, all the information and all the communications that go in and out of that phone. When you buy the license for something, like, it's a big deal. The same thing happened with my laptop. I mentioned it like a month ago because he said, "Where'd you get your laptop?" All right, and I said, Fingerhut. Fingerhut apparently shut down. Like, my next payment stopped auto pay, and now I'm paying some other company. I'm sorry, I'm talking while I'm waiting for something to load, and it's being a goober. I said, "Oh snap!" Reload it. Let's start. Okay, thank you. We're gonna start with a little link that I found. And again, I believe that the biggest thing that we have done wrong in this time is we've broken the covenant. Christianity in America is very superficial, and faith by grace, right? People want to be saved by faith by grace and not works. And it's a terrible thing to say, works, blah, blah, blah. Well, James told us works. One book tells us one thing, and then it's precept upon precept. You end up doing the good works. That is the evidence of your faith. That is the fruit that you're bearing from being in cooperation with the Most High God Creator that made you. I don't understand why this is a problem too. Everybody is just using this and plucking this, and it's a library of books. You know, if you're gonna go by it and you're gonna say you believe in it, you need to understand what it actually says and stop letting other people tell you what it says, because again, they're doing you a severe disservice. So I'm actually gonna read. We're gonna pause there and do this. Okay, so Jeremiah 101, 3 lessons from the weeping prophet. We'll get through this relatively quickly because Lamentations is what I want to read. And this is older. You'll see when it's from 2023. Wow, my dad's birthday. I can't escape this stuff, man. More than 100 people have died in Maui from the most devastating U.S. wildfire in the last century. A once thriving village is reduced to ashes, leaving many more residents homeless. How many homeless people do you think they're creating with the fires now? And it's illegal to be homeless. This is lawlessness. There is no more like legal, illegal. Like, understand that too, because natural law will always exist. And that's something that they are all accountable to. And this, again, is why you need to learn the laws of consent, because if you don't allow them to do a thing, they can't do it. Why? Because they're all demonized. Real, actual people that aren't demonized don't have to operate that way. OCD is kind of a demonic, and I know because I had it, it's kind of a demonic, I don't want to say maybe attribute, right? Because you're constantly like worried and you have to do all these rituals before you can walk out the door or do the next thing. My son and I have both had problems with that. And again, these people know what they're doing. They wanted little MK Ultra bots running around everywhere, like that was the goal. Okay, so for some, this might conjure biblical imagery, and there may be no figure in scripture who relates to that more than the prophet Jeremiah. Again, he is someone we should listen to in this day and age. We could learn a lot. So let's see what we can learn. It's not very common to see a grown man cry in today's culture. There are experiences. My original spouse used to cry. Not all the time, but and he would have crocodile tears. I think everyone has those, but he actually cried a few times that I knew him. Okay, no matter how tough you are, known as the weeping prophet, much of the book of Jeremiah can be like that. But why would you want to open up a book that's about shedding tears? Shouldn't we focus on joy? I've often found that in the midst of our darkest moments, brighter beams of hope also shine through. That's what we find in Jeremiah. In the darkest moments for Israel, God sent a way of escape, promising new life and new hope, and proving that sadness and sorrow will not have the last word. And I know I am being persecuted, and I'll tell you a little bit about that at some point in the video. Careful what you wish for, right? The famous Dutch painter Rembrandt has a portrait of I love Rembrandt, oh my gosh, but his paintings are like, where Da Vinci's have like this light, Rembrandt's, I think, instead of like a light color, he starts with like a dark canvas, so that when he adds the light, like when he layers to the light, it's so profound. I'm sorry, I'm like an art geek. I get chills just talking about it. Okay, Rembrandt is notorious. Oh, the famous Dutch painter Rembrandt has a portrait of the great prophet Jeremiah leaning to one side. I'll use that as the thumbnail. I think it's on yesterday's. No, that's a different one, but I will use this one on today's. Resting sorrowfully on his left arm and looking forlorn, Rembrandt is notorious for capturing the encroaching darkness around the outsides of his portraits, along with brighter yellowish light fixed in the center. That's the first thing to learn when approaching the book of Jeremiah, the reality of the darkness around the edges. Sometimes we ignore the darkness and also miss the bright hope and light that breaks through. It ultimately centers on the hope that centers on God always showing up. That leads us to one of the first lessons the prophet teaches us. How many people has God saved and called to him in the last 8 years through demonic affliction? How many people have looked at that and said, oh my God, demons are real. Help me, Lord, help me, right? You recognize like, wow, This isn't some joke, it's real. Speaking of, I got a really weird text yesterday too, because it wasn't enough to like make me cry. Then I had to get my phone bombarded as I'm in my room. But something wrong with these people, man. And I laugh. It's not a funny laugh. It's because I don't know what else to do at this point. But prayer, man. These people need prayer, and I don't know what else we can do for them. There's a reason that I do have my own room, and I lock the door at night. Lesson one, I slept in the closet for the first couple years we lived here right after I almost lost my ear. Remember our first love. This is lesson one. After the prophet's call from God, Jeremiah's opening scene is a vivid memory. The Lord is remembering Israel as a bride. I remember the devotion of your youth, how as a bride you loved me and followed me through the wilderness. Jeremiah 2:2. There's that. How the Lord loved this brand new nation, brought up out of Egypt, and Israel loved him back with undivided devotion. If you have known the Lord for a few years, remember back with me what it was like to first know the Lord. Reading scripture would have been like reading daily love letters. Yeah, so many people they're like, oh, that's the stuff in there is terrible and debaucherous, this, that, and the other. It's telling you that everyone's a sinner. Like it's showing you that even God's people are sinners. Like he knows this and he loves us. He still loves us. However, as a parent, he can't let us trash his house. There are things we're supposed to be doing. H.A. Ironside, the late pastor and evangelist at Moody Church, in his commentary on Jeremiah, remembers the beauty of the first love we have for our Savior. How much the Lord was to us then, Ironside writes, what a poor thing this world seemed with all its glittering baubles. How gladly we turned from everything we had once delighted in to go out after himself, revealed in Jesus. I think of Revelation 2 that calls us as Christians to remember our first love. But we need these reminders. Israel needs these reminders. Too often we forget God's love. We turn away to other loves and look for joy in forbidden places. In Jeremiah's day, one of the daily threats was starvation. Listen and get used to this idea. You see that fire in LA, I didn't understand. They said it was a frozen food place. I was watching somebody I'm sub to, but I thought they said that it was cold storage. They didn't say what cold storage it was. It was food. It was food, y'all. Uriel is the angel who's in charge of the fire in the end days as well. In Jeremiah's day, one daily threat was starvation. Food in the ancient world was always in short supply. Nowadays, we can run to a supermarket and never lack bread, meat, and every kind of food. Yeah, don't say things like that because you're tempting God. If there is a drought like the farmers in Central California have experienced in recent years, it may drive up the cost of food, but we almost never run out. That's cognitive dissonance on display right there. So what do you think we're eating, folks? Like, wake up. That's why they only allow, like, if you want to plant a tree, you're only allowed to, like, plant a male tree. Can't have female trees because then we'd have fruit everywhere. Then we wouldn't have to work every day of our lives. We could just walk down the road, pluck fruit. How you doing, Jim? You want to go fishing today? Sure, I could use some lunch or whatever, to supplement the fruit. All right, let's go. There is no industry jobs. There was no progress, guys. It was progress into getting us into daily slavery. And that's all it is. And I'm not downing people who work. I worked very hard for a lot of years. I still try to work hard around the house and do whatever I can do to help. Um, that's not what I mean. Okay? So again, please don't mistake what I'm saying. But in the ancient world, in Jeremiah's world, hunger was an all too frequent friend, and when hunger strikes, people will do anything to get food, which leads to our second lesson. When we are desperate, we often turn to other sources of love. Lesson 2, sin separates us from God. Sin's not a popular word, but it is the word the Bible uses for straying and missing the mark of what the Lord commands. He calls his bride to have undivided devotion to him, but so frequently we go our own way. Let's be clear, too. It's not just about Israel, it's about all of mankind.
God's wish is that every man would be saved. God's will, like if we that's why I pray, like when I do pray, at the very end I say, let God's will be done and not my own. Because we're told in I want to say that it's Corinthians, but I don't quote me on that, obviously. That we're told that it's God's will that all men shall be saved. All. So if we're not, and it's our own doing. In Jeremiah's day, there was no water, and I still think those data centers, like they're just gonna start housing water and not give it to anybody. Like that's one of the reasons for that place. They don't need all that water, but they do need it if they're going underground. In Jeremiah's day, there was no water. On a diet of bread and fruit, the staples of Israel, no water meant no food. No food meant famine, and famine meant hunger. Well, you could pray for rain, guys, but also please be aware, like, I have to interject here. Fruit has what you need as far as water goes. Like, fruit was like a great source of water, like, it holds water. So, yeah. The Lord The Lord describes the desperation that his young bride had when she wandered away from him like this. My people have committed two sins. They have forsaken me, the spring of living water, and have dug their own cisterns, broken cisterns that cannot hold water. Okay, and again, let's be clear. It's not because, and there's a lot of bad teaching out there, so I'm just going to interject when I need to, because I know you guys watch a lot of YouTube as well. My people have committed two sins. They have forsaken me. It's not about God being arrogant. It's not about him wanting everybody's attention per se, not in that way. He doesn't have to be a star. That's the fallen angels. There's a reason God is hidden, guys. God could have come here as anything. He came here as a servant, okay? So people who say that he's arrogant don't understand who he is, and they do need to know Jesus, because Jesus showed us that our idea of God was way off, way off. We were serving demons in the Old Testament. I'm like, I don't know how many times we need to hear from a prophet that tells us God does not want blood, flesh, and incense and candles. And they're like, well, they were just doing it wrong. They were doing it for the wrong reason. No, he doesn't want that at all. Creator Maker doesn't need anything from us. That's another clue that that's not the true creator that they had in their minds. Okay? Creator doesn't need anything from us. There are rules in place, and I know this is apparent, so that we can have the most abundant life possible. Not to be a drag, not to ruin our lives. And again, sometimes you need a parent to tell you these things and point these things out. Um, and in fact, I would say that I would have a very hard time listening to a pastor who is not a parent. Um, Priests are different. They go through seminary understanding that they are a spiritual father to these people. Spiritual father, like not Father God, right? They are a spiritual dad to us. They understand that, and they go through many years of schooling for that. This is the problem with dress up when somebody wants to have their own business or their own this or their own that. There's a lot of fraud happening, and in JD Vance, that's great that he notices it, but he's talking about a different arena. So it says his people have committed two sins, and it says basically by forsaking him, living water, we have relied on our own goodness to operate in our life, and because of that, our cisterns are broken. They will not hold water, and water is life. All right, I'm gonna move to lesson 3. He goes on a little bit, but I think you guys get the point. Lesson 3, I still remember you. Remembering all throughout the Bible refers to an intimate knowledge of someone, not as much like remembering something mundane, but more like remembering a beautiful day with the person you love. I still like, there's certain smells that can come around and take me back to like a special moment. That's what he means. C.S. Lewis, in his first work of science fiction called Out of the Silent Planet, wrote, quote, "A pleasure is not full grown until it is remembered," end quote. It doesn't bear all of its fruit until it's remembered. I can see that. I can see that, right? Because you don't know what joy is. You don't know joy unless you have experienced pain and suffering. When true joy comes around, then you can recognize it. There's a reason for the duality that is here, guys. It is to pull us up out of that state of confusion we don't even realize we're in, oftentimes. Okay. This is the way the Bible uses the word remembrance. It is savoring. I love that word, savoring. We used to say that about my youngest. He savors his food. Let him savor it. Let him sit there and enjoy it. It is savoring and enjoying an experience that has changed you, and you will never be the same again. It is a memory, full grown and enjoyed. This is the way the Lord responds when he hears the cry of his son. Is not Ephraim my dear son, the child in whom I delight? Though I often speak against him, I still remember him. Therefore my heart yearns for him. I have great compassion for him, declares the Lord. Jeremiah 31:20. I can relate. How many of us are experiencing estrangement since 2019 lockdowns? It's part of this anti-human agenda, they break everything down, every unit, the family unit, the feminine, the mother, the parental unit, anything human has got to go. Good afternoon. Thanks for being here. And thank you for saying hello. The Lord extends these words to everyone who cries to him for mercy. Is not Ephraim my dear son? So he would cry out for you too. I can't help but think of the story of another young son, also captured in a famous Rembrandt painting, who wasn't sure if his father would remember him. Man, Rembrandt, if you haven't checked out Rembrandt, you need to, because his lighting is so otherworldly. It's like nothing. I can only imagine seeing these paintings in person. Like, I wish I lived the life I wanted to live instead of listening to everyone else. And let me be clear, and you should be able to see it on my face when I talk about my children, how much I love them. Um, when I say things like, I wish I'd never come to this state, or I didn't want to have children, that's because I wanted to spare other beings. I knew looking around as a child, I didn't have a word for it, right? I didn't know what it was, but I was like, this is not going to last. This is not going to last. It was just the word I was looking for was where it's already dystopian. The buildings we use are all old and they're squares and they smell. Most of them have mold. Like we're living in dystopia. So I knew as a child this wasn't gonna last. I didn't want to bring anyone else into this situation um, at this time. And again, you should know the end from the beginning. In the beginning, we were told to go forth and multiply. But since Genesis 6, we were also told that not everyone here is human and we shouldn't just copulate within everyone. And it's shameful that they don't tell us that when we're younger. Because now, how many people are created that allegedly are told they're not salvageable or redeemable? Which I don't know that that's true either. And I would say if you're here with a purpose and the creator maker. If he didn't want you here, you wouldn't be here already. So there are things that we still don't understand, and we can't presume to understand everything. Just like a child doesn't understand why a parent says, "Hey, don't stick that knife in that light socket." The child might not know, but the parent knows, right? And the parent doesn't want the child to have to find out. Okay, so I can't help but think of the story of another young son, also captured in a famous Rembrandt painting, who wasn't sure if his father would remember him. This young son had grown up with all the joys and privileges of belonging to a father who loved him, but in his adolescence he hardened his heart. I did the same. And as for all the inheritance from his father in advance, the father divided his possessions and gave them away to his beloved son. Then the son ran ran away to a far off land. The story tells us that there was a famine in that land. This is the prodigal son, right? Did Rembrandt? I didn't know Rembrandt did like a lot of religious paintings. I guess I should say he did like the cherubs are his, uh, which are silly, but The story tells us there was a famine in that land. Everyone was experiencing the pain of hunger. It may seem like a coincidence that the son running away from his father ended up in this famine, but I don't think so. I think the Lord of this story is reminding us in the famous story of the prodigal son of the many times when Israel ran away from him and ended up in famine. But now, do you recall what the son said to himself? How many of my father's hired servants have food to spare, and here I am starving to death? The first acknowledgement of the son is that the father's house is the only place where he can find life. I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants. That's how, and because he's like, at least I'll eat, right? But the question for our passage in Jeremiah 31 is, will the father remember him? Will the father take him back? Now the story of the prodigal son switches camera angles and we are placed back in the position of a father left with only one son. While the younger son is still far away, the father might have to squint to see him. Something about this stranger, something about the way he walks, something about this person far, far away prompts the father to jump to his feet. He doesn't wait for his son. He doesn't walk towards his son. He doesn't even slowly jog to him. He runs. The father runs. And the story gives us one simple reason. He was filled with compassion. He throws his hands around him and kisses him. What a lavish way of loving a son who had taken everything from him. What a divine love this is that shows only mercy and kindness to one who had betrayed him. You see, the reason the father could love his son like this is because of a new covenant he had promised to make all the way back in Jeremiah 31. This covenant says, I will forgive their iniquity. I will remember their sin no more. How is this new covenant sealed? What is the guarantee of this new covenant? We're going to stop there. Oh, no, I don't. You might not understand it if I do what I want to do because I'm different. How is the new covenant sealed? What is the guarantee of this new covenant? Pay attention to new covenant, okay? Because this is why we are where we're at today. Especially because and this just occurred to me as a nation. We took God's name in vain. We say that we're a Christian nation, but we're not. And that is taking God's name in vain. So we're also guilty of blasphemy. Oh, I don't know, it just occurred to me like that. We broke the new covenant, okay? Because we took advantage of grace and we sinned knowing, most of us. Well, I can just go ask God for forgiveness. What's that phrase? You see it on t-shirts all the time now. It's better to ask forgiveness than to I forget. I don't even know it because I don't like it. I don't like how that goes. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much where we're at is we have taken God's name in vain by saying we're a Christian nation, but we are not. I will forgive their iniquity. I'll remember sin no more. How is the new covenant sealed? What is the guarantee? Israel, or in Jeremiah 31, Ephraim is described as God's son. In the famous parable of the prodigal son, we have another father son relationship, but they are all pictures and point to the father son relationship that changed history. Jesus raised a cup with his disciples one dark night and said, This cup is the new covenant in my blood. Jesus, who was the Son, who had always obeyed the Father, was given over to death for our sins, for those which had separated us from God. Our sinfulness really is so bad that the eternal Son of God had to be nailed to a cross for us. But the covenant that his blood seals is an everlasting covenant, and it promises that God will always remember this special word of love and relationship. He will always remember his people. There is hope that shines in our darkness. All right. He left out some stuff though, because again, that's not it, right? Like we can't take the grace that God offers for granted. So, Lamentations Which book do you guys want me to read from? The USSCB or everybody likes? There's the KJV with the Apocrypha. So this is Lamentations 3. Real quick, let me. So as a quick reminder, because again, if you want to know how to walk this out in these current times, this is a good book to understand. Okay, so Jeremiah is mourning the destruction of Jerusalem and its temple when the Babylonian armies invade. These poems do not tell the story of that destruction, but instead they dolefully offer glimpses of the horrible condition in the ruined city. Ponder the reason for this tragedy and beg for God's mercy. Lamentations is one of 5 books in the Hebrew Bible that were grouped together under the title Megilloth, meaning scrolls. Blah, blah, blah. I was looking for where it says that we broke the covenant, but I have another link for that, so we will start at Lamentations 3 because we ended off at 2 yesterday. I'm not going to make this video super long, but I am going to get into at least cover all of 3, chapter 3. Now, we were just kind of taking a tour throughout the city, and we were being exposed to the devastation and destruction that had happened, and he was lamenting. And that's the thing, God's covenant, like, he will always remember, absolutely. At the same time, though, that, like, we're still not supposed to go about doing certain things, right? Ow. My legs are staying in the chair, I apologize. Lamentations 3, hope of relief through God's mercy. I am the man that hath seen affliction by the rod of his wrath. He hath led me and brought me into darkness, but not into light. Surely against me is he turned. He turneth his hand against me all the day. My flesh and my skin he made old. He hath broken my bones. He hath builded against me and compassed me with gall and travail. He hath set me in dark places as they that be dead of old. He hath hedged me about that I cannot get out. He hath made my chain heavy. Also when I cry and shout, he shutteth out my prayer. He hath enclosed my ways with hewn stone. He hath made my paths crooked. He was unto me as a bear lying in wait, and as a lion in secret places. He hath turned aside my ways and pulled me in pieces. He hath made me desolate. He hath bent his bow and set me as a mark for the arrow. He hath caused the arrow of his quiver to enter into my reins. I was a derision to all my people, and their song all the day. He hath filled me with bitterness. He hath made me drunken with wormwood. He hath also broken my teeth with gravel stones. He hath covered me with ashes. And thou hast removed my soul far off from peace. I forgot prosperity. And I said, my strength and my hope is perished from the Lord. Remembering mine affliction and my misery, the wormwood and the gall. My soul hath them still in remembrance, and is humbled in me. This I recall to my mind. Therefore have I hope. It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, saith my soul. Therefore will I hope in him. The Lord is good unto them that wait for him, to the soul that seeketh him. It is good that a man should both hope and quietly wait for the salvation of the Lord. Quietly wait. It is good for a man that he bear the yoke in his youth. He sitteth alone and keepeth silence, because he hath borne it up upon him. He putteth his mouth in the dust, if so there may be hope. Meaning, put your face to the ground and pray. He giveth his cheek to him that smiteth him. Right? Christ told us the same thing. Turn your cheeks, turn the other cheek. He is filled full with reproach, for the Lord will not cast off forever. But though he cause grief, yet will he have compassion according to the multitude of his mercies. For he doth not afflict willingly. God does not afflict willingly, nor grieve the children of men, to crush under his feet all the prisoners of the earth, to turn aside the right of a man before the face of the Most High, to subvert a man in his cause, the Lord approveth not. Who is he that saith, and it cometh to pass, when the Lord commandeth it not? Out of the mouth of the Most High proceedeth not evil and good. Wherefore doth a living man complain, a man for the punishment of his sins? Let us search and try our ways, and turn again to the Lord. Let us lift up our heart with our hands unto God in the heavens. We have transgressed and have rebelled. Thou hast not pardoned. Thou hast not pardoned. Thou hast covered with anger and persecuted us. Thou hast slain. Thou hast not pitied. Thou hast covered thyself with a cloud, that our prayer should not pass through. Thou hast made us as the offscouring and refuse in the midst of the people. All of our enemies have opened their mouths against us. Fear and a snare is come upon us, desolation and destruction. Mine eye runneth down with rivers of water for the destruction of the daughter of my people. Mine eye trickleth down and ceaseth not without any intermission. To the Lord look down and behold from heaven. Mine eye affecteth mine heart, because of all the daughters of my city. Mine enemies chased me sore, like a bird without cause. They have cut off my life in the dungeon, and cast a stone upon me. Waters flowed over my head. Then I said, I am cut off. I called upon thy name, O Lord, out of the low dungeon. Thou hast heard my voice. Hide not thine ear at my breathing, at my cry. Thou drewest near in the day that I called upon thee. Thou saidst, Fear not. O Lord, thou hast pleaded the cause of my soul. Thou hast redeemed my life. O Lord, thou hast seen my wrong. Judge thou my cause. Thou hast seen all their vengeance and all their imaginations against me, meaning false accusations. Thou hast heard their reproach, O Lord, and all their imaginations against me, the lips of those that rose up against me. This is like Psalms. And their device against me all the day. Behold, they're sitting down and they're rising up. I am their music, meaning they do all those things because of him. Render unto them a recompense, O Lord, according to the work of their hands. Give them sorrow of heart, thy curse unto them. Persecute and destroy them in anger from under the heavens of the Lord. Let's be clear. What you're seeing there is called perfunctory prayer or psalms. It is when you ask God himself to bring a curse down upon people who deserve it, who have earned it. But you see what he asked first. Give them sorrow of heart, thy curse unto them. Curse them with a sorrowful heart. You see what I mean? Curse them with repentance, because it's a gift from God, so that they will stop persecuting, him. But again, they've been taken over by another nation, so they are dealing with all that entails. Good book for our time. Lamentations 4, the punishment of Zion accomplished. How is the gold become dim? How is the most fine gold changed? I'm sure Golden Boy will tell us soon enough. The stones of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of every street. The precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold, how are they esteemed as earthen pitchers? The work of the hands of the potter, even the sea monsters draw out the breast. They give suck to their young ones, meaning even the sea monsters, as behemoth as they are, right? Even the sea monsters feed their young, care for their young. The daughter of my people is become cruel, Zion, like the ostriches in the wilderness. The tongue of the sucking child cleaveth to the roof of his mouth for thirst. Meaning these mothers are so wicked they wouldn't even feed their children. The young children ask for bread, and no man breaketh it unto them. Yeah, be understanding of that too, that this time is a time that is not child friendly. They want babies for one reason and one reason only, and it's nothing good. They that did feed delicately are desolate in the streets. They that were brought up in scarlet embrace dunghills, meaning scarlet was a very rich color. You had to be wealthy to be able to afford red, purple, orange, any exotic color, right? Anything not in nature, not like taupe or tan or khaki. So when they use this imagery in the Bible, when they talk about like scarlet, they're in most times they're talking about wealth. So they're saying they that were brought up in scarlet, they that were wealthy as they were being brought up, now they're embracing dunghills because they're under judgment. Judgment hits everybody. It doesn't matter what class you're from. It doesn't even matter what team you're playing for, because it's all up to the Most High God. The devil can't protect you from him. Like all these people operating for Satan, I don't know what they're thinking. They know not what they do. For the punishment of the iniquity of the daughter of my people is greater than the punishment of the sin of Sodom. Yikes. When the sin of Sodom is in its name, but what is the sin of Sion? They were just saying, is it child sacrifice? That was overthrown as in a moment, and no hand stayed on her. Her Nazarites were purer than snow. They were whiter than milk. They were more ruddy in bone than rubies. Ruddy means red. So when they say David had ruddy cheeks, red cheeks, that should tell you he was not a dark person like most people are trying to say now. David was not very dark. He was not a dark person. My cheeks are ruddy when it's winter. In the summer, they're ruddy, but for the sun, right? Anyways, Sammy, stop that. I'll be done very soon. Samson. I sprayed him with the hose earlier, and he's still like messing around with his like grooming. I know. They were more ruddy in body than rubies. Their polishing was of sapphire. Their visage is blacker than a coal. They're not known in the streets. Their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered. It is become like a stick. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away, stricken through for want of the fruits of the field. The hands of the pitiful women have sodden their own children. They were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. Do you understand what that means? They were eating their babies. They were so hungry. I don't care how hungry I am. I'm not doing anything even remotely like that. That is worse than beastly. I know beasts that behave better. Like, I don't. People say, well, you'll know when. You don't know till you're hungry. No, dude, I'll never be that hungry. It won't happen. I will never be. I'll die. I'll be fine going hungry. I will not participate in this garbage. Anyways, I'm sorry. That is one of my things. Like, it just makes me very angry at us for getting to the point where we end up behaving like animals. The Lord hath accomplished his fury. He hath poured out his fierce anger, and hath kindled a fire in Zion, and it hath devoured the foundations thereof. The kings of the earth and all the inhabitants of the world would not have believed that the adversary and the enemy should have entered into the gates of Jerusalem. The adversary and the enemy, for the sins of her prophets and the iniquities of her priests, that have shed the blood of the just in the midst of her. They have wandered as blind men in the streets. They have polluted themselves with blood, so that men could not touch their garments. They cried unto them, Depart ye, it is unclean. Depart, depart, touch not. When they fled away and wandered, they said among the heathen, They shall no more sojourn there. The anger of the Lord hath divided them. He will no more regard them. They respected not the persons of the priests. They favored not the elders. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near, our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. So again, understand what's happening here. They've been overtaken by another nation. Those people are getting the houses. You see a lot of these people in these videos getting kicked out of their houses, guys. You see a lot of ICE don't speak very good English. Do you understand what's happening yet? I'm sick of people waiting on some patriot to come save us. Like, obviously that's not happening. Where'd they all go? Did they drag them all off first? Probably. And probably not many are patriots, because they have families that they want to keep safe, so they'll bend their morals and make a deal, a lot of them. So now they can't even go on the streets, right? They can't, much like the homeless people now, they can't even go on the streets, because if they do, they're going to be persecuted further or jailed. And he said earlier, they only get up and sit down because of us, meaning their sole purpose in this nation is to harass the people who were born there, the Israelites. Anyways, I hope people are paying attention. The few of you that do watch my videos, I hope that they encourage you to prepare, pack a bug out bag, right? I have foraging books. If you guys want to look at them with me, we'll go over them, but I don't know if you're into that. I have a bug out bag, and I have all my special documents in a special place that if something occurs, I'm just going to grab it and I'm out. I'll bounce. I don't know if it'll be that quick, but God gives his children a little warning beforehand. But again, you need to understand though, there's nowhere to hide. Like, this is happening to the entire nation. Now, yeah, maybe you can have a little life in the woods, or do like some of these people are with the nomads. Because right now we're in a period where it's still very quiet. That I think they're waiting for something to happen, like some event, right? Anyways, let's continue on. Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. They pursued us upon the mountains. They laid wait for us in the wilderness. I told the men in my family since 2015 this was coming. Do you think they prepared? Nope. Do you think they care that I get scared being here alone? Nope. They tell me, boo-hoo, you're a baby. Now I'm just a woman who wasn't raised in any type of military situation whatsoever at all. What has happened? The breath of our nostrils, the anointed of the Lord, was taken in their pits, of whom we said, under his shadow we shall live among the heathen. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. So they're warning you. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. So he's warning the next town, like, hey, it's not just, it's going to happen to all of us, right? Like I've been telling you, like it's coming for you next. That's just what's happened. All right, hang on. Let me see where I'm at. This is the last book. Should I just read it and get through it? Or do you guys want me to touch base on taking grace for granted? You know what? Let's do the grace thing tomorrow. I got a book, and I'm surprised at myself, but RFB suggested that we read, or if you can, to buy this book. He said it's a good companion book for the Bible. Not to be funny, but I already found a mistake in it when they're talking about the name of Yeshua, but that's okay. Because again, translations are different. But he hits on something in there, and I haven't read enough yet to know if he knows what he hit on. But it again is this covenant we broke. Grace isn't, how do I say this? People, God's love is not conditional. It's not his love, right? But just like a parent, they trust you. They give you the keys to the car. They give you that grace and trust. The grace at that moment is trust. They give you the trust. They give you the keys to the car, and what do? You end up taking it to places you're not supposed to go and getting in trouble and doing things that you shouldn't be doing. So now you're under grounding or judgment, and your parent takes the keys away from you. Hopefully that still happens. I don't know though, because even raising my own children, every time I tried to ground them, their dad went right around and told them not to listen to me. We might as well have been divorced because it's the same effect. If you're in a broken home, within the family, within the home, it's the same results, guys. God's way is the best way for families, for individuals, for true prosperity, for abundance. So Lamentations 5 closes this out with a prayer for mercy. And he's asking God to remember. Remember, O Lord, what has come upon us. Consider and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers, our houses to aliens. We are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows. We have drunken our water for money. And again, let's be clear, alien used to be the word they used for illegal immigrants. It was called illegal alien. All this talk about aliens, and no, you still don't get what's happening on the surface. Spiritually, most of us, on this channel know what's happening. But physically, they've been telling us all along. They've just been using messed up lingo to do it. So they could say, oh, we told you. And it has nothing to do with karma. They don't care about karma. They could care less about that. Or they wouldn't do the things they do that are wicked if they cared about karma. It has nothing to do with karma. Our inheritance is turned to strangers, our houses to aliens. We are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows. We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us. Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest. We have given the hand to the Egyptians and to the Assyrians. Wow, they're paying off both of them. To be satisfied with bread. Our fathers have sinned and are not, meaning they're gone, and we have borne their iniquities. Servants have ruled over us. There is none that doth deliver us out of their hand. We got our bread from the peril of our lives because of the sword of the wilderness. Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. Does that mean ashes? Dirty what? They ravished the women in Zion and the maids in the cities of Judah. Princes are hanged up by their hand. The faces of elders were not honored, meaning it didn't matter who, again, class didn't matter. They took the young men to grind, meaning to do the work, and the children fell under the wood. The elders have ceased from the gate, the young men from their music. The joy of our heart is ceased, our dance is turned into mourning. The crown is fallen from our head. Woe unto us that we have sinned. For this our heart is faint. For these things our eyes are dim. Because of the mountain of Zion, which is desolate, the foxes walk upon it. Thou, O Lord, remainest forever, thy throne from generation to generation. Wherefore dost thou forget us forever, and forsake us for so long? Turn thou us. This is the King James. La 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 la. Turn thou us unto thee, meaning turn thou us unto thee. Repent, turn around, O Lord, and we shall be turned. Renew our days as of old. But thou hast utterly rejected us. Thou art very wroth against us. Indeed he is. Okay, so I wanted to touch on something. Let me see where it's at and if. Now this is from Hebrews. Yeah, we'll do a whole video on this, on Hebrews. Not the whole book, I don't think. Well, but we're going to start with this one section about grace. But that'll be in the next video. If I'm bored, it might be tonight if I'm not crying myself to sleep. Speaking of, my eyes look terrible. Whatever. Doesn't even matter at this point. If you guys want to look at, I have like a 1980s Army survival book that tells you like tips and tricks. I have a foraging book with basic herbs and plant recognition and what they do. If you're interested in that, I'd be more than happy to and these are physical books that I have, so it'd be me sitting here like a teacher opening the book so you could see what the plants look like and that type of thing. If you're interested in that, please let me know. I'll turn comments on, but things have to maintain some sort of respectability and maturity, because children are online and they are not always supervised, and we should be careful with the example that we set in word, deed, and typed word. All right. I love you guys. Please pray for me. Pray for my healing. I'd greatly appreciate that. And I will pray for all of yours as well, because we all got some ailment at this point. Hi, Michael. I'd like that. All right, cool. I think I have a feeling you already know stuff like that, though. You don't really need me to, like, you don't need me to relay information like that, but if I get 3 or 4 people that wanna do it, we'll go ahead and do it. All right, y'all. Have a blessed day. I gotta feed the babies. They're actually doing well. I feed them every 2 hours because you have to. Um, I don't know if they're rats or opossums or field mice. They're so tiny, but yeah, I'll do an update video soon. The one's a little chunky monkey. Their names are Moses and Aaron, and Moses is the chunky monkey, and Aaron's like he's the runt. So I'm trying. I'm doing the best that I can. But it's very interesting. What's interesting too, a real quick testimonial or praise report is that even though I don't go anywhere, God is putting me in situations to where I'm completing the Beatitudes. I have taken care of a widow or comforted a widow. I have taken care of people, fathers when they were dying. I and that was when I still, did things. Um, Now I'm taking care of orphans and the least of them because they're babies and they're animals. Um, God would not make it so that you had to get to a physical place to escape the matrix. This is why Christ is open to everybody, no matter what life you live or where you live. So be real careful. Again, this is why he also says, if they say I'm here or there, don't listen to them. You'll know when I'm here, when I come back. Um, I love to travel. I would love to see more of the country that I was born in. And I might just take off. I might not be able to help myself because I don't want to die here around people that have no, I don't know. Anyways, no matter where you're at or what lifestyle you're living, God is working behind the scenes and he is doing things that maybe you're not aware of, right? Sometimes we get too high and mighty in our own heads. We think we have no one else looking out for us, right? Um, yes, we have to answer to God, but he's also watching out for us. And he will put you in situations that stretch you, they might be uncomfortable, they challenge you. That's because he loves you. He wants to see you grow to your full potential. So, even me, I'm able to take care of orphans, not human ones, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. I asked him to put someone in my path to help, and well, there they were, literally in my path. I helped a worm cross the road at that same spot last year and did a short on it. Something's going on with that whole area because it's always covered in like roadkill or I see ant. I don't know what everybody's like congregating there for, but all right, you guys have a blessed day. Please remember to stay hydrated, stay as cool as you can, and maybe I'll see you again later on to go over grace. Yeah, because that's where we're at. That's why we're experiencing the judgment we're experiencing. God bless you.